Hey, I'm Johnny May. Welcome to Piano with Johnny. Today I'm going to teach you a course on two-hand coordination. Now, this is a real challenge for beginner students. I've had so many students come up to me and say, Johnny, I don't understand how to put my hands together. This is so hard. I don't get it. And I understand this is a very common problem for beginner students. And so I've developed this course just for you to master two-hand coordination. Now, I use a chord progression as well that you probably are very familiar with. This is a pop chord progression, and it's used in lots of different songs. Now, you're probably thinking, wait, what song is that? I know that song. Well, it's used in lots of different songs. So it's a lot of fun to play. Now, in this course, we're going to have 12 different exercises that focus on different rhythms. And each one gets progressively harder. So we're going to be tapping, we're going to be counting, and we're going to be building up, and I'm going to go nice and slowly and hold your hand through this process. So by the end of this course, you're going to really understand how to play these rhythms. So we're going to start nice and simply. One of the first exercises, we're focusing on the left hand rhythms. The right hand is playing this steady pulse. So this one goes like this. You see how my right hand is just keeping a nice steady quarter note rhythm? The left hand is playing this cool eighth note pattern. And then we're going to do an eighth note steady rhythm in the right hand with the same left hand pattern just to vary it up. And so each of these gets progressively harder. Here's another one. And then toward the end, you'll have this one. Then we're going to focus on the right hand, and the left hand's going to play a steady rhythm. And we're going to explore all of these really cool rhythms in the right hand, getting progressively harder and just focusing on some of the difficulties, the challenges that you're going to see in a lot of music. So here's one of the right hand exercises that I really like. So we're going to have 6 of those, getting progressively harder. At the end of this lesson, we're also going to be talking about triplets. And triplets are kind of in their own category, and they're kind of tricky to play. So I'm going to show you some of my favorite tricks to conquering triplet rhythms. So by the end of this lesson, you're going to be a master at playing beginner piano music, and all of these rhythms you're going to fully understand and be able to play. So this is a preview lesson to my full-length course on pianowithjohnny.com, where you can get the full course, but I'm going to show you some snippets from that course. So let's go and hop into the lesson. All right, guys, so we're going to start off with the basic chord progression, and I love this chord progression because you can use it in so many songs. Probably 70 or 80% of the songs out there use this chord progression or a very similar one, so it's really useful, and we're going to use it throughout this entire lesson. So here is the basic chord progression. It sounds like this. All right, that's it. Just 4 chords. That's all you got to know. So our first chord is a D minor 7 chord. That's the technical name for the chord, but all you need to know are these notes. There's just 4 notes. It's D, A, C, and F. And this is middle C with the red dot. Okay, D, A, C, F. That's fingers pinky, thumb. 2 is your index finger, and your 5 finger, that's your pinky. Okay, second chord is a B flat chord. I love this chord, it's so pretty. The technical term is a B flat sus2. It's got a really pretty 2 note in there, but all you need to know is it's a B flat major chord. And this is B flat, F, C, and F. Pinky, thumb, index, pinky. Third chord, this is our F major. This is the root of the chord. This is our pinky, thumb, basically same fingering, and we've got F, C, C, F. And then our fourth chord is a C sus4, and again it's only 4 notes. We have C, G, C, and F. And that's your fourth chord. So there you go. Let's go ahead and play this together. And what we're going to do is play this as whole notes. And a whole note takes 4 beats. So we're going to count to 4 for every chord. Okay? So let's go ahead and play this first chord, D minor 7. Here it is. Ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go to our B flat chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. And F. 1, 2, 3, 4. And C sus. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great job. So that's it. You now have all of the notes that you need to play this entire lesson, and the rhythms, which we're going to be changing up, are going to be based on those chords and those notes. So you don't have to learn any other notes than just these 4 notes for each of these 4 chords. So do you guys recognize this chord progression? I mean, there's so many cool songs this is in, like Coldplay, so The Scientist. Or John Legend, All of Me. Or Great Big World, Say Something. Or Sam Smith, Stay With Me. So, you know, you can go on the radio and discover all kinds of songs, and now that you've heard this for these 4 songs, you'll probably notice it in a lot of other songs, and now you know the chord progression for the song, so pretty cool stuff. Alright, so playing rhythms and coordinating our hands really comes down to counting. And counting is something that we've all done since we were little tiny kids, so it's something anyone can do. It's just knowing where to play those notes while you're counting. So in music, we have what's called a pulse. And a pulse, you could think of like a heartbeat. It's a steady beat. It's a steady movement, and it moves the song along. And so this pulse is what we play all of our rhythms around. Sometimes we play on the pulse, and sometimes we play off the pulse. And so this is where we get our note values from. Whole note is our longest note, and that gets 4 beats. Now, if you cut a whole note in half, you have what's called a half note, and that gets 2 beats. Then if you cut a half note in half, you get a quarter note, and a quarter note gets 1 beat. And then if you cut that in half, you get an eighth note, and an eighth note gets half of a beat. And that sounds kind of weird. How do you have half of a beat? Well, you actually would clap or tap or play twice per beat. Okay? And that's as far as we're going to get in this lesson. We're talking about mostly quarter notes and eighth notes, but it's also important to understand whole notes and half notes. So let's do a quick review of these basic rhythms and how to count these. And you probably already have a pretty good idea of whole notes and half notes, but we'll really be diving into the eighth notes and quarter notes in this lesson. Now, what we're going to do now is play half notes. And whole notes we hold for 4 beats. A half note we only hold for 2 beats. All right? So a half note basically would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so every time I clap, I'm holding it through 2 beats. 1, 2, and 3, 4. All right, so that is our half note rhythm. So let's go ahead and play that now in the right hand with the left hand. We're going to be using the same chords, so this D minor chord, D minor 7 chord. And in the right hand, instead of holding the whole note, we're going to play on beats 1 and 3. So it's going to basically sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is your half note rhythm. So the left hand's playing whole notes. We're holding all 4 beats. The right hand is playing half notes. So you're already one step into the process of playing 2 rhythms, 1 rhythm in one hand and 1 in the other. So this is all that we're doing. Coordination is it's just going to get a little bit more tricky each time. We're going to deal with some more complicated rhythms, but you're already doing it. So congratulations. So that's the half note pulse. Let's go ahead and do quarter note pulses. Now, a quarter note pulse is half the value of a half note pulse. So if a half note is 2 beats, then a quarter note is 1 beat. Okay? So a quarter note would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're basically tapping or playing on the beat, or clapping with the beat. So this is actually one of the more easy rhythms to play because you're just going exactly with the pulse. So let's go ahead and do it with this chord progression, starting on our D minor. Okay, and here it is. Ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now, one thing you can use is a metronome. Right now I'm counting out loud, which is a great thing. I always encourage my students to count out loud while they play. If you don't have a metronome, then I would encourage you to count out loud so you know when you're playing these notes. But a metronome is really great because you don't have to necessarily say the beats, and it'll tap it for you. And also a metronome won't speed up or slow down, so it'll keep you right on the beat. The last type of rhythm that you need to know as a beginner intermediate pianist is eighth notes. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky because eighth notes are played in between the pulse. Okay, so eighth notes are half the value of a quarter note, and quarter notes are played on the beat. So what does this mean? Well, you have to clap 2 eighth notes for every beat. Okay, so this is what eighth notes sound like. And here it is. Ready, tap. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right? So for eighth notes we use 1 and. We got that and. It's right in between the beat, and it's dividing 1, 2, 3, 4. It's dividing all of those in half. And that's the basic idea of an eighth note. So let's go ahead and take that and put it with this chord progression. Okay, same thing. We're doing these rhythms in the right hand. Left hand are whole notes. We're holding it for 4 beats, and now our right hand is going to be doing eighth notes. Okay, here it is. Ready, play. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Excellent job. Well done. So those are your eighth notes. You now know all of the note values that you need to know in this lesson. We're not going to be talking about 16th notes or 32nd notes. Those are actually even those are even faster than the eighth note rhythms, but you're not going to see those very often in beginner and intermediate music. So we're going to do 2 more of these basic pulse options, and these are eighth note pulses as well, but what we're going to do is we're going to break up the right hand. Right now we're playing the 2 notes together, which sounds really cool, but we're going to break it up and do what we call a broken pulse pattern. If you're following along in the music, this is measure 17 of the sheet music, so you can actually see the notes. So here is the basic eighth note broken pulse pattern. So we're playing the same eighth note pattern, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, except you're breaking it up. That's it, pretty simple. So that's the broken pulse. We're going to do 1 more, and this is eighth note melodic pulse. And it's just like the broken pulse, except we're going to throw a little melody in. Okay? And this one sounds like this. Okay, so I really like this one because there's a little melody moving on the top of the right hand. It makes it really pretty sounding. So on this one, I'm moving from the first position. This is F to C in the right hand, F, C, right? The second measure on the B flat chord, I'm going up to the G. So that's G, C, G, C, G, C, G, C. And then the next one, that's A to C, A, C, A, C, A, C, A, C, and then back to G and C. Okay? let's do that once more together. Now the fingering also matters on this. So we're going to actually start on the third finger. This is our middle finger of the right hand. We go to our ring finger, the fourth finger. And then our pinky, our 5 finger. And back to 4. And this is really important. A lot of beginner pianists will get comfortable using 2 or 3 fingers on their hand, and that's all that they'll use. And it becomes a crutch for them because you want to use all 10 of your fingers. It makes it a lot easier to play. You can do a lot more, and you're going to be a lot more accurate. So what I don't want you to do, what I absolutely don't want you to do, is use 1 finger doing something like, or using just 3 fingers. I want you to try to use 4 or 5 fingers. So start on 3, and the nice thing is the 4 is already above the G, the 5 is already above the A, so you're already in those positions to play those notes. So let's go ahead and play this pattern once, hands together. It's a little bit more tricky than the other ones, but you should have no problem playing this, okay? Find our position, D, A, F, and C, and I'll count you off. Here we go. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right, great job. Well done. And that is the first section of this lesson, just learning our basic rhythms. And now we're going to get to the really fun part, which is playing all of the different variations on rhythms and playing some really cool rhythmic patterns. Hey, that was so much fun to teach you this 2-hand coordination course. Now there's a lot more material in the full-length course on my website, pianowithjonny.com. We really dive in, and it's a very thorough lesson with 12 different exercises focusing on each hand. We also talk about triplets, and it's a lot of fun to play with this cool pop chord progression. So check it out on my website, pianowithjonny.com. It's a lot of fun to teach you, and I'll see you in our next course.